In a world where every handshake is a signal, every seat at the table a story, President Donald Trump invited 5 African leaders to the White House, and the choices sent ripples across the continent. Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania, Senegal. But something stood out. Where was Nigeria, Africa's largest economy? Or South Africa, the diplomatic powerhouse? Egypt, Kenya? This wasn't just diplomacy. This was strategy, optics, and perhaps something deeper. Today, we dive into the real reasons behind this unexpected guest list and what it tells us about U.S.-Africa relations under the Trump administration. In early July of 2025, President Donald Trump extended formal invitations to 5 African heads of state. The world watched as the leaders of Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Liberia, Mauritania, and Senegal gathered in Washington. To many, it felt unusual. These nations, while sovereign and significant in their own right, are not typically the centerpiece of African geopolitics. They're not economic giants. They're not military hubs. So why them? Critics called the move puzzling. Supporters praised its boldness. But the answer lies at the intersection of diplomacy, ideology, and what some call low-risk foreign policy. Let's take a closer look at the invited nations. Who got the call, and what's behind it? Liberia, a historic ally. Founded by freed American slaves, Liberia has always held a unique place in U.S. foreign policy. The relationship is symbolic, emotional, and deeply rooted in American history. Senegal, a beacon of democratic stability in West Africa, strategically located, home to U.S. military presence, and a key player in counterterrorism. Mauritania, a bridge between North and Sub-Saharan Africa, recently aligning more with U.S. interests in counter-extremism. Gabon, rich in oil, quietly stable under President Ali Bongo's long-standing rule. A reliable, if understated, partner. Guinea-Bissau, perhaps the most surprising guest, a nation often plagued by coups and political instability. But the invitation may hint at U.S. interest in stabilizing fragile states before rival powers, like China or Russia, step in. But what speaks louder than those who were invited are those who weren't. Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation and its largest economy. South Africa, the most industrialized and diplomatically influential. Egypt, strategically critical, militarily formidable. Kenya, Ethiopia, Ghana, regional leaders with booming economies and growing clout. Their absence sent a clear message. This wasn't about big power diplomacy. It was about recalibrating U.S. influence in Africa through smaller, more manageable allies. Some analysts argue that Trump's administration preferred bilateral relations with nations unlikely to challenge U.S. positions. Others suggest it was about avoiding messy entanglements with large, complex democracies that could push back. Trump's Africa policy, often seen as transactional and security-driven, was shaped by key themes: counterterrorism over development, bilateralism over multilateralism, skepticism toward international aid, and a growing anxiety over Chinese influence on the continent. By engaging smaller nations, Trump could secure military cooperation, economic deals, and symbolic wins without the constraints of dealing with Africa's continental giants. It was foreign policy with a CEO mindset: low risk, high control, clear optics. But there's another layer. China's investment in Africa had skyrocketed. From highways in Kenya to mines in the DRC, China was everywhere. The U.S., especially under Trump, was playing catch-up. Inviting underengaged nations could be a way to counter Beijing's influence by locking in U.S.-friendly partners before China does. These weren't just meetings. They were chess moves. In the end, Trump's invitation list wasn't a snub to Africa's big players. It was a recalibration, a shift from flashy summits to quiet influence, from the predictable power players to the ones no one was watching. But Africa is not a passive continent. It is young, dynamic, and increasingly assertive. Whether this strategy worked or backfired is a question historians will answer. But one thing is clear: when a president chooses who not to invite, they're often speaking louder than any speech could. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown insightful, Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more global political deep dives. Until next time, stay informed.